Okay, so we're diving into quick success today.
Sounds good.
And, I mean, who doesn't want to reach their goals faster, right?
Right.
We've got this podcast episode here, and it's
Right.
really all about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, and you know what's fascinating is this episode?
What's that?
Well, it really takes a personalized approach
Okay.
and stresses that there's no like one-size-fits-all formula for success.
That's interesting, because a lot of times we see those lists, like top 10 tips for success.
Exactly.
But they don't always work for everyone. So how do we, figure out what success actually looks like for us personally?
That's where this episode starts.
Okay.
Defining success on your own terms.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think about it,
Okay.
financial freedom, starting a business, even work-life balance,
Yeah.
they sound great in theory,
Yeah.
but they might not actually align with what you want.
With your values.
Exactly.
That makes me think about all the times I've chased after these goals.
Oh, yeah.
That looked great, on paper.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't really do anything for me personally.
Yeah, it's like using a map without knowing where you're going.
Oh.
You'll just end up lost.
Right.
So this episode encourages you to ask yourself some tough questions.
Like what?
What makes you happy?
Okay.
What are you naturally drawn to?
Uh-huh.
What would you do if failure wasn't a possibility?
Wow, those are some hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
I think I need to do some soul searching.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say you have that vision.
Yeah.
How do you actually turn that into something real?
Well, that's where SMART goals come in.
Okay, I've heard of SMART goals, but I've
Yeah.
never really thought about why we use them.
Well, this episode breaks it down.
Okay.
It uses a really good example.
Okay.
Let's say your goal is to be rich,
Okay.
which is pretty vague, right?
Yeah.
A SMART goal would be, I want to save $10,000 in the next 12 months by cutting back on unnecessary spending and starting a side hustle.
So it's
Yeah,
way more specific
exactly.
instead of just this yeah.
Fuzzy idea.
Exactly. It's like having a roadmap.
Instead of just a compass.
That's a great analogy.
It's
But
true.
it's more actionable.
And this episode also emphasizes breaking down those big goals into smaller steps.
Okay.
Even 15 minutes a day towards your goal can lead to big progress over time.
That makes a lot of sense, especially for people like our listeners who are super busy.
Yeah.
But, even when we know what to do,
Yeah.
it can be hard to actually do it.
Yeah, that's so true.
How do we stay consistent?
It's all about discipline.
Okay.
The episode really makes that distinction between motivation,
Okay.
which comes and goes,
Right.
and discipline, which is what gets results.
So we need to build routines.
Exactly.
And stick to them even when we don't feel like it.
You got it.
And something else this episode talks about is mindset.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
It's all about believing in yourself, right?
Yeah. Your thoughts can shape your reality.
Whoa.
So if you keep telling yourself you can't do something,
Yeah.
you're probably right.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we switch from self-doubt to a more positive, I've got this attitude?
It's not easy.
No.
But the episode gives some practical techniques.
Like what?
Replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations.
Okay.
So instead of, I can't do this,
Yeah.
try, I'm capable, and I'll figure it out.
I like that.
Surround yourself with positive influences too,
Okay.
like inspiring books and podcasts,
Yeah.
or even people who lift you up.
That makes sense.
And remember,
Yeah.
failures aren't the end of the world.
Okay.
They're feedback.
Oh.
And learn from them and move on.
So don't let those setbacks stop you.
Exactly.
But I think we've all felt that feeling of getting stuck,
Yeah.
trying to do everything ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
How do we break free from that?
That's where focusing on your strengths comes in. And the episode highlights how important it is to focus on what you're good at naturally, instead of trying to be good at everything.
Right, because you can't be good at everything.
Exactly. So ask yourself,
Yeah.
what do you enjoy doing?
Okay.
What comes easily to you?
Uh-huh.
What do other people compliment you on?
So then delegate or outsource the things that you're not so good at.
Exactly. That frees up your time and energy to focus on what you do best.
I see how all of this is coming together now.
Yeah.
But there's something else I think we need to talk about.
What's that?
Networking.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This episode has a great quote, "Your network is your net worth."
So true.
But I think a lot of people feel awkward about networking.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
It can feel forced.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that.
No.
Think of it as building real relationships, not just collecting contacts.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Go to events, join online communities,
Okay.
reach out to people you admire.
Uh-huh.
But the key is to focus on giving value first.
I see. So don't just expect something in return.
Right.
It's about building that support system.
Exactly.
That's so important.
And that leads us to the final point of this episode.
Okay.
Adaptability.
Oh, yeah, things change all the time.
Exactly.
So we need to be able to adapt.
Success isn't a destination.
Okay.
It's a journey.
I like that.
And sometimes that journey takes unexpected turns.
So how do we stay adaptable in this crazy, fast-paced world?
Stay curious.
Okay.
Keep learning new things
Uh-huh.
and be open to changing direction when you need to.
So it's not just about learning new things, it's about being open to change.
Exactly.
Wow, I'm really rethinking my whole idea of what quick success means.
Yeah, it's not just about speed.
Right.
It's about working smarter, defining your own path, and being flexible along the way.
This has been a fantastic deep dive into the first part of this episode about quick success strategies.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We talked about defining personal success, setting smart goals, taking consistent action, and cultivating a positive mindset.
And leveraging strengths, building a strong network, and staying adaptable.
But there's still so much more to explore.
Oh yeah, for sure. In the next part, we'll dive even deeper into specific tactics and real-world examples.
Can't wait.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
what's standing out to you so far?
Well, I'm really struck by how important it is to define success on your own terms.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, we get so caught up in what society tells us success looks like
For sure.
that we forget to ask ourselves what really matters to us.
Yeah.
And that's got me thinking,
About what?
well, if quick success is about working smarter, not harder, what's one thing I can do today to work smarter towards my definition of success?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
One we should all be asking ourselves. Welcome back to our deep dive on quick success strategies.
I'm ready for more.
So we talked about some great foundational things in the last part, like setting smart goals and taking consistent action.
Right, and like cultivating a positive mindset.
And asking those questions about your strengths and building that network.
Yeah, it's all coming together now.
Good.
But I'm curious about specific tactics that we can actually implement.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you have any real-world examples of how these principles actually play out?
Absolutely. So this episode talks about time blocking.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I think so.
It's where you schedule blocks of time for different tasks.
Okay, so instead of just hoping I'll get everything done,
Right.
I actually sit down and plan out my day.
Exactly.
Like, okay, this time is for focused work, this time is for meetings,
Yeah.
and even schedule in breaks.
Exactly. And the episode really stresses that having that structure can make you so much more efficient.
Okay, so I'm actually in control of my time.
Yeah, instead of it controlling you.
I like that.
And another productivity hack the episode talks about is the Pomodoro technique.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's where you work in short bursts.
Okay.
So you set a timer for 25 minutes of focused work and then take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
And after 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, like 15 or 20 minutes.
I like that it includes breaks.
Yeah.
Because I know I can get so focused on a task that I forget to take a break.
Right, it's like hitting the refresh button for your brain.
But even with all the productivity hacks in the world, sometimes we still hit those moments where fear creeps in.
Yeah, fear can be paralyzing.
And the episode talks about the fear of failure and how that holds people back.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I know. I get so caught up in the what ifs sometimes that I end up not doing anything at all.
But you know what this episode says?
What's that?
That failure is actually a crucial part of the journey.
I like that.
It's not the opposite of success.
Okay, so it's about embracing failure as a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Not avoiding it.
Right.
So instead of seeing failure as a stop sign,
Yeah.
we should see it as like a detour.
That could lead you to an even better route.
Exactly.
So you embrace those challenges,
Okay.
and you'll be amazed at how much you can grow.
But there's another point the episode makes about mindset that I think is important.
What's that?
It's about finding inspiration.
Yes. Inspiration is like fuel for the soul.
So how do we actively seek out inspiration?
Surround yourself with positive influences,
Okay.
whether that's books, podcasts, or people.
I've noticed when I'm around positive-driven people,
Yep.
it rubs off on me.
It
And
just
the
seems
episode
to.
also talks about seeking out new experiences, like,
Yeah.
traveling, trying new hobbies, even just stepping outside your comfort zone.
It's all about expanding your horizons.
Exactly.
And sometimes those unexpected adventures lead to the most creative ideas.
And speaking of creativity, this episode brings up something that I think is really important.
What's that?
Self-care.
Oh, yeah, self-care is essential.
But so many people feel guilty about prioritizing it.
I know it's not selfish, though.
No.
It's essential.
Okay, so explain that.
When you take care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being,
Yeah.
you're actually better equipped to handle challenges and achieve your goals.
So it's not just about bubble baths and face masks.
No.
It's about investing in your overall well-being.
Exactly. So you can be your best self.
Okay, so what are some practical tips for self-care?
Well, first, make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Oh, I know. I'm definitely more productive when I'm well-rested.
Sleep deprivation is not your friend.
No, it's not.
And then there's exercise.
Yeah.
Even a short walk can make a big difference.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And of course, there's nutrition.
It's all about making choices that support your body and mind.
Exactly. So you can operate at peak performance.
And we can't be on all the time, right?
Nope.
So the episode talks about scheduling time for relaxation.
Yes.
And doing things you enjoy.
Like reading or listening to music.
Spending time in nature.
It's all about recharging and reconnecting with yourself.
Okay, so we've covered productivity hacks, reframing failure, finding inspiration, and prioritizing self-care.
Yeah, we've been busy.
What else does this episode talk about?
Well, it dives into continuous learning
Oh, yeah.
and how it's so important in today's world.
I'm all about lifelong learning.
Good.
But how do we actually make it a part of our lives?
Well, it starts with that growth mindset we talked about.
Right.
Embracing challenges as opportunities to learn.
So instead of saying, I can't do this,
Yeah.
we say, I can learn how to do this.
Exactly. And you should also seek out new sources of information.
Like what?
Books, articles, podcasts, webinars, online courses.
There's so much out there.
And the episode also highlights the power of mentorship.
Oh, yeah, mentors are great.
They can offer insights and guidance that you might not get anywhere else.
Yeah, because they've been there, done that.
And finally, the episode emphasizes the importance of real-world experience.
So it's one thing to learn about something in theory,
Yeah,
but it's another to actually apply it.
right. It's about bridging that gap between theory and practice.
This has been another great part of this episode.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
We talked about productivity hacks, reframing failure, finding inspiration, prioritizing self-care, and continuous learning.
What's standing out to you?
I think the emphasis on continuous learning is really resonating with me.
Yeah.
In today's world, it's more important than ever to be a lifelong learner.
I agree. It's not just about acquiring knowledge.
Right.
It's about cultivating that curiosity and adaptability.
Yeah. What about you?
What resonated with you?
I think the emphasis on self-care is so important.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to take care of ourselves.
Sure.
But this episode reminds us that self-care is essential for success.
I couldn't agree more.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into quick success strategies.
It's amazing how much we've covered already.
Right. We've talked about defining your own version of success, setting those SMART goals, building a positive mindset.
And those practical tips for time management.
Like time blocking and the Pomodoro technique.
Yeah, my to-do list is already looking less scary.
But there's one more thing this episode talks about that's really important.
What's that?
Technology.
Oh yeah, technology.
It can feel overwhelming sometimes because it changes so fast.
It does.
But it can also be an incredible tool.
Yeah, for sure.
So what does this episode say about using technology for quick success?
Well, it emphasizes that no matter what you do, whether you're an entrepreneur or part of a larger company, understanding key tech areas can give you an advantage.
Like what specific areas?
Well, it starts with digital marketing,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
reaching your audience online.
It seems like everything is online these days.
It does.
If you're not online, do you even exist?
Right, and then it talks about data analytics,
Okay,
which sounds complicated,
it does a little.
but it's really about using data to make better decisions.
Okay, so it's not just about collecting data.
No.
It's about understanding what it means and
Exactly.
using it to your advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, and then there's the big one.
AI.
Oh, yeah, everyone's talking about AI. It feels like it's changing everything so quickly.
It is.
So how does this episode approach AI?
It acknowledges that AI is transforming industries really fast,
Yeah.
but it focuses on the bigger picture.
Okay, so we don't need to become coding experts overnight,
No.
but we do need to understand how AI is going to impact us,
Exactly.
how we can adapt.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense, but technology isn't the only area where knowledge is power.
True.
What else does this episode talk about?
Financial literacy.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one,
It is, and it can feel intimidating.
especially if you don't have a background in finance.
But this episode breaks it down into easy-to-understand pieces,
Okay.
starting with budgeting.
Budgeting is so important.
It is, and it's not about restricting yourself.
Okay.
It's about making a plan for your money so you can reach your financial goals.
So it's like creating a roadmap for your finances.
Exactly.
I like that.
And then it talks about saving.
Yeah, saving is important.
It is putting money aside for those unexpected expenses or future goals.
I try to save a little bit each month.
That's great. Even small amounts add up over time.
And then, of course, there's investing.
Yeah, investing can seem scary at first,
It does.
but it's crucial for building long-term wealth.
Okay, so where do we even begin with investing?
The episode says to start small and learn as you go.
That's good advice.
There are tons of resources available these days to help you learn.
That makes me feel better.
And this episode also dives into funding options for entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
It starts with bootstrapping.
Okay, using your own money to start your business.
Exactly.
And then it talks about other options, like getting funding from friends and family or angel investors.
Or even venture capitalists.
Wow, there are so many different paths.
There are, and the best route depends on your business and your goals.
It's about finding the right approach for you.
Exactly. Just like with defining success or choosing a productivity technique.
It all comes back to personalization.
It does.
But I feel like we're missing one key ingredient here.
What's that?
A team.
Oh, yeah, you can't do it all alone.
Nope, no one achieves great things in isolation.
So true.
So what does this episode say about building a strong team?
It starts with hiring the right people.
Okay, finding people who are not only skilled, but also a good fit for your company culture.
Exactly.
When everyone's on the same page, it's amazing what you can achieve.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
And the episode also talks about creating a positive work environment.
Yeah, where everyone feels valued and respected.
And where communication is open and collaboration is encouraged.
Exactly.
But we also need clear roles and responsibilities, right?
Yes, so everyone knows what's expected of them.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about managing remote teams?
Oh, yeah, that's become so common.
It has.
So this episode gives some tips for that, too.
Like what?
Well, it all starts with communication.
Okay.
Establishing clear communication channels and having regular check-ins.
So we're bridging that physical distance with good communication.
Right, and it's not just about sharing information.
Okay.
It's also about building trust and rapport.
Even when you're not in the same room.
Yeah, it's important to find ways to connect and build that sense of community.
And we need clear expectations and deadlines for remote workers.
Yes, finding that balance between flexibility and accountability.
This episode is full of good advice.
It is.
We've talked about building a strong team, whether it's in person or remote.
Yeah.
But now I think we need to talk about leadership.
Oh, yeah, leaders.
It's a quality that we often admire in others,
Uh-huh.
but it's also something that we can all develop.
So true.
So what does this episode say about leadership?
It highlights qualities like vision, communication, adaptability, resilience, and passion.
Those are all important.
They are. And it also talks about emotional intelligence.
EQ.
Yes, understanding and managing our emotions and the emotions of others.
And this episode says that leaders with high EQ are more effective.
They are. They can build stronger relationships and create more positive work environments.
And they're better at handling conflict.
Exactly.
But emotional intelligence isn't just for leaders.
No, it's a valuable skill for everyone.
Definitely.
It helps us in all areas of life.
Okay, so we've talked about leadership, but what about innovation?
Oh, yeah, innovation.
It's all about coming up with new ideas and finding better ways of doing things.
Right. And this episode talks about fostering a culture of innovation
Okay, so how do we do that?
by encouraging experimentation and risk-taking,
Okay.
creating a safe space for people to share their ideas.
Even if those ideas are a little crazy.
Exactly.
And collaboration is important too, right?
Absolutely. Bringing together people with different perspective can lead to amazing breakthroughs.
It's like brainstorming on steroids.
And staying informed about industry trends is important too.
Yeah, we need to know what's happening in the world.
So you can identify opportunities for innovation.
Okay, that makes sense. But in today's world, innovation often goes hand in hand with digital transformation.
Right. Using technology to change how businesses operate.
Digital transformation sounds like a big deal.
It can be, but this episode breaks it down.
Okay.
It starts with cloud computing,
Okay.
moving your business to the cloud so you can access computing resources on demand,
So it's more flexible and scalable.
and also more cost-effective.
Okay, I see. And then there's mobile technology,
Yeah, making sure your products and services are accessible on smartphones and tablets.
because that's how people are accessing information these days.
Exactly.
And of course, we have data analytics, again,
Yeah.
using data to make informed decisions.
Exactly.
But digital transformation isn't just about technology, it's also about people.
Specifically your customers.
Right. Customer experience is so important.
It is, because if customers don't feel valued, they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, there's so much competition these days.
So we need to listen to our customers,
Uh-huh.
get their feedback,
Uh-huh.
and use it to improve.
It's about creating a pie log.
Yes, and showing customers that you care.
And this episode also talks about personalization.
Oh, yeah.
Using data to tailor your offerings to each individual customer.
Exactly.
So they feel like they're the only customer.
And of course, we can't forget about good old-fashioned customer service.
Yeah, a helpful and knowledgeable support team can make all the difference.
Absolutely.
And then there's omnichannel marketing.
Right, providing a seamless experience across all channels.
So it doesn't matter if a customer is online, offline, or on their phone.
They have a consistent experience with your brand.
Okay, so we need to integrate our marketing channels.
Yes, and use data to personalize the experience.
And make sure everything works well on mobile devices.
Exactly.
It's all about creating a smooth and enjoyable customer journey.
But to do that, you need to understand your own brand.
Okay.
And that's where personal branding comes in.
Personal branding is so important these days.
It is. It's about showcasing your strengths and values.
And building an online presence that reflects who you are.
Exactly.
It's like your own personal marketing campaign.
And you need to be aware of your online reputation, too.
What people are saying about you online.
Because that can really impact our opportunities.
Okay, so we need to be proactive and manage our online presence.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about branding and customer experience and all this amazing technology.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about ourselves.
That's true.
We need to talk about work-life balance.
Yeah, finding that balance between our professional and personal lives.
It's not always easy.
It's not, but this episode gives some tips.
Like what?
setting boundaries
Okay.
between work time and personal time.
So work doesn't take over our lives, and
Right.
we need to prioritize our health and well-being.
Yes, make time for exercise, healthy eating, and activities that help you relax.
Self-care is so important.
It is.
But even with good work-life balance, sometimes life throws us curveballs.
That's true.
And that's where resilience comes in.
Yeah, being able to bounce back from setbacks.
So how do we cultivate resilience?
This episode says it starts with a growth mindset,
Okay.
seeing challenges as opportunities to learn,
So we reframe those setbacks.
and we focus on the lessons learned.
And we need a good support system.
Absolutely. Having people who believe in you can make a big difference.
So true. But sometimes bouncing back isn't enough.
Right?
Sometimes we need to adapt.
And that's where adaptability comes in.
Being flexible and adjusting to change.
That's exactly.
So how do we become more adaptable?
By being willing to learn new things
Okay.
and step outside our comfort zones.
And get good at solving problems.
Yes.
So we need to be comfortable with discomfort.
And remember that change is a constant.
Okay. But to navigate change effectively, we need a clear sense of direction.
That's true.
And that's where goal setting comes in.
Right.
We've talked about SMART goals.
Yeah.
But this episode also emphasizes prioritization.
Oh, yeah.
Figuring out what's most important.
And focusing our energy on those things.
Right, because we can't do everything.
No, we have limited time and resources.
So we need to be strategic.
This episode suggests using tools like the Eisenhower Matrix to help you prioritize.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
And it also talks about aligning your daily actions with your long-term goals.
So we're making sure we're moving in the right direction.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our goals and our priorities, but now we need to manage our time effectively.
Time management is crucial.
It is, but it's something I struggle with.
So what does the episode suggest?
Well, it talks about planning and scheduling.
Yeah, using calendars and planners.
To stay organized and on track.
And minimizing distractions.
Oh, yeah, those can be a killer.
They could so create a distraction-free work environment.
Okay, so I need to put my phone away.
And the episode also debunks the myth of multitasking.
Oh, yeah, I'm so guilty of multitasking.
Most people are, but it actually makes us less efficient.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's better to focus on one task at a time.
Exactly.
Okay, so single tasking is the way to go.
It is.
But even if we're super productive and organized and amazing at time management,
Yeah.
we still need other people.
That's true.
This episode talks about networking again.
Yeah, building relationships and connecting with others.
And these days, online networking is so important.
It is building your online presence and engaging with people on social media.
It's all about using technology to expand your network.
And no matter how you're networking,
Yeah.
communication is key.
So we need to be good listeners.
Yes.
And communicate clearly.
And pay attention to nonverbal cues.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly.
And this episode also talks about email etiquette.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Because email is still a primary way we communicate.
It is.
So we need to use a professional email address.
Yes. And write clear subject line.
And proofread everything.
Always proofread.
Because we want to make a good impression.
Exactly.
But sometimes we need to communicate on a bigger scale.
Like with public speaking.
Public speaking terrifies me.
I get that, but it's a valuable skill.
So how do we get better at public speaking?
The episode says practice is key.
The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Right, and you need to know your audience.
Okay.
And tailor your message to them.
So they're engaged.
And don't forget about visual aids.
Oh, yeah. Slides and images can really help.
They can make your presentation more memorable.
And what about virtual presentations?
Those are becoming more and more common.
They are. So how do we make those engaging?
It's about adapting to the online environment.
Okay.
And finding ways to connect with your audience through the screen.
Using our voice and body language.
And the
To
technology.
create a compelling experience.
Exactly.
Wow. We've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have. It's amazing how many different things contribute to success.
But before we wrap up, there's
Focus on
one
the-
last thing we need to talk about.
What's that?
Mindset.
Oh, yeah, mindset.
It's the foundation for everything else.
So true.
So what does this episode say about mindset?
It emphasizes the importance of cultivating a success-oriented mindset,
Okay.
believing in yourself,
Uh-huh.
maintaining a positive attitude,
Okay.
and practicing gratitude.
I like that.
Because our thoughts and beliefs really do shape our reality.
Wow, that's deep.
It is. And when we believe in ourselves, we're more likely to achieve our goals.
And a positive attitude helps us through the tough times.
It does.
We need to focus on the good.
And look for those silver linings.
And gratitude helps us to appreciate what we have.
Exactly.
But a positive mindset isn't just about feeling good,
No, it's also about taking action.
right?
So this episode talks about cultivating a sense of urgency.
Okay, so we're not procrastinating.
Right, we're taking action and making things happen.
So set deadlines.
Break down those big goals into smaller steps.
And just get started.
Exactly.
And we don't have to do it alone.
Nope.
We need to surround ourselves with the right people.
People who support you and believe in you.
Yes. Find those mentors and role models.
People who inspire you.
Wow, this episode has been incredible.
It has. We've learned so much.
We've talked about setting goals, managing our time, embracing technology, and building a strong team.
And we've explored the importance of mindset resilience, adaptability, and finding the right people.
This episode is like a blueprint for quick success,
It is. But it's also a reminder that success is a journey.
not a destination.
Exactly. It's about continuous growth and learning and adaptation.
It's about embracing challenges and believing in ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one thing you're taking away from this episode?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we are in control of our own success.
That's a powerful realization.
It is. We create our own success through our choices and action.
And our mindset.
Exactly. And this episode has given us the tools to do just that.
So what's one small step our listeners can take today to move closer to their goals?
Just start.
That's it.
Take that first step, no matter how small it seems.
Because action leads to momentum.
And momentum leads to progress.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for that quick success.
We'll see you then.